best radio show.
This is Star Radio UK.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, and a very good evening and welcome to Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Today being the 10th of August 2022, and looking up to the time here is just about 4 minutes past the hour, 1800 hours from London. And I'll first and foremost say good evening to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe. And this is how it's going to be going on tonight. I want you to take all the things that you need, because tonight we will be discussing issues that is affecting a lot of Nigerians, and also those that do not agree for Nigeria to exist anymore. But before we go into this conversation, you will always join me here every Wednesday evening, where we discuss everything that needs to be known and whatever that relates to Nigeria as a country. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. First and foremost, let us appreciate everyone that have joined us. And as we continue to say, the best way to listen to Star Radio UK is to also download the apps as well and follow us on all the social media handles. As we are getting ready for the program this evening, I will be bringing my first music up in just about a few minutes, where we will be discussing issues. There is also a press statement that I'm going to be bringing up to you later on as well this particular evening. Quite a lot is happening in Nigeria, as a lot of Nigerians are preparing for election, so as so many other Nigerians are also preparing for their exit out of Nigeria. And what do I mean by that? We have Nigeria that was amalgamated in 1914 by the British government, and the time has now finally come that individuals are now saying that, are we truly Nigerians? And if we are not Nigerians, what do we need to do, to exit out of Nigeria? What is the way forward? How do we solve all these issues on the ground? I'll be telling you what are the headlines coming out of Nigeria. I'll be giving you everything that you need to know. But like I always say, Star Radio UK, it is where you can find all the latest update on the news as well. So I'm going to be playing our first track this evening, which is called Orilede. It is in the Yoruba language, and it is something that I want us to listen to. But before we do that, maybe, just maybe, we should first and foremost listen to the late Dr. Malafia Obadia, before he died.
And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Don't joke with what I'm saying. I have a PhD from Oxford University. I'm a central banker. We don't talk nonsense. So don't joke with what I'm telling you. I have this from the highest possible authority, higher authorities of some of the commanders of the killers and Boko Haram.
You said northern governors, past or present, Dr. Badaya?
No, current. No, in Nigeria. One of them. And they're not looking for money. They have more than enough money. In fact, he told me they just came back from...
Well, you've had him there. That is, the late Dr. Malafia, But before we go further, let us continue to pray for each and everyone that have died, in Nigeria because of the terrorism that is happening in Nigeria, or those that have been kidnapped that are still in the hands of the terrorists as well. I was watching the news coming out of Nigeria this evening, and there is also that about 7 of those that were kidnapped, during the Kaduna train terrorist attack on the 28th of March. Some of them have now been released. So we continue to pray for everyone that has been affected in Nigeria today. But the question is, moving forward, what do we need to do more, to curb, this situation? Is the federal government doing enough to handle the insecurity in Nigeria? These are all the issues that we will be looking and be discussing as well this evening. But before we go further again, I would like to say thank you so much to my producer, Mr. Frank and Archie, and the rest of the Star Radio UK team that are working tirelessly, to bring to you the finest and the most successful radio station that you can ever think of in the United Kingdom. There is a lot to look into tonight. My guest will be joining me in about 50 minutes from now. But prior to my guest arriving, there's a lot that I need to discuss. There's a lot that we need to share with you. We were expecting, one of our Yoruba Nation self-determination leader to speak to us this particular evening. But what we can say is he's no longer going to be speaking with us because of one reason or the other. And that means, that interview that was meant to go ahead today have now been been shifted to maybe some other time. We will be giving more details about that in due course as well. So Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri Abiola would no longer be appearing on all the media that you were expecting her to appear tonight. But one thing I can tell you is we know that also that Chief Tola Adeniyi, he will be appearing on the Yoruba Self-Determination Media Town Hall meeting later on this evening. So quite a lot that is going on in Nigeria. But one thing is, may Nigeria never happen to you until you are kidnapped, until you have gone through, so much that is happening. You would understand, the consequence of when people say, may Nigeria not happen to you. There's a particular story that is currently now being, distorted by the Nigerian government and especially, the security in Nigeria. What is the story about, and what do we know about that story? Remember that, Nigeria, there's a lot of activities that go on every day, but some of those activities might probably be something that the federal government is deliberately trying not to let the international community to be aware of the atrocity, the crime, and also that is happening in Nigeria. But our job here is to make the international community understand that Nigeria is no longer safe. Nigeria is no longer the Nigeria that you know about some 30 years ago. Nigeria has finally happened to so many people. This is our first track this evening on Naija Voices on Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Sit down and let us enjoy the program together. You will join me here every Wednesday where we look and review everything when it comes to Nigeria. But this evening, I have a guest, and my guest will be joining me, like I said, in under 50 minutes when we'll be discussing Yoruba Nation Way Forward with Mr. Kayode Emola. That is our sister Janet Orile-Demi. That stands for My Own Country. is how we roll every Wednesday, and this has been going on for the last 5 years. I would like to appreciate my producer and once again everyone that have joined us so far. Once again, if you'd like to connect with us on Star Radio UK, you can get in touch with me. But the best way to send money on to your loved ones is by using the send waves. Do you think that election will hold in Nigeria as the Biafra continue to campaign, for their exit out of Nigeria? Every indigenous people are saying they've had enough of Nigeria, but there's a lot of Nigerians that are saying Peter Obi or any of the other can be able to resolve the problem. Is that true? Do you think that election will be able to resolve the problem in Nigeria this evening? This is one out of so many music that have been produced for those that are campaigning for Yoruba self-determination. Like I say, I'll be giving you the time clock, how many days before election, and are we all getting ready? Because quite a lot will be happening both this weekend. I'll be telling you everything that you need to know. In London, in America, there will be a rally that will be coming up as well. I'll be giving you all those details. But the big mega rally will be announced by Professor Banji Akintoye very, very soon. As you're joining the program, I can cite you. I say good evening to you, Mr. Jonathan. I'll be welcoming each and every one of you on the Star Radio UK. Remember also, you can listen to Star Radio UK on Twitter as well. Once again, this is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My guest will be joining me in just 40 minutes from now, but there's a lot to discuss before then. Topic is going to be way forward for Yoruba Nation. If we're going to get Yoruba Nation, what will be the process and what needs to be done? What are the laws across the globe, for those that wants to exit a particular country, and what do we need to be doing, to get the campaign going? All these will be discussed, but like I said, do not expect, Chief Mrs. Modupe later on tonight, because that interview have now been rescheduled for some other time. After my first track, I'll be giving you all the details regarding, the press release by Chief Sunday Adeyemo just about an hour ago. Like I said, my guest will be joining me very soon, but before we kickstart, we are just warming up as we are driving home and as you are doing your part-time job and you are already on break and the weather is so beautiful outside. I can tell you, you need a lot of liquid to keep the weather going here in London. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I welcome you as we're settling in. Like I said, my guest will be joining me just under 40 minutes from now. Once again, I welcome you to the program, as we say every Wednesday, Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò náà. I was actually looking at a book that was sent to me, and I'll be showing you, the copy of the book in just about a few minutes. And something I pick up from the book says liberty. How many people want the liberty? How many people want the liberation? And how many people still want to keep Nigeria? Because so many millions of Nigerians are saying that we can still get things turned around and we can make Nigeria a great country. Do you believe in that as well? Are you of the same view that Nigeria can still be great, or do you are so thinking that Nigeria will be so beautiful and we can get things done and we can have a good president, we can have everybody enjoying? Do you also believe in that, or are you of the same view like me that says enough is enough? It is time now to hang the boots and allow Nigeria to go its own way. This is all what we're going to be discussing later on this evening. Stay tuned once again. Kayode Emola is one out of so many Yoruba that believe that it is more than enough for Nigeria to break away now, and part of how it's going to break is part of what we're going to be discussing in terms of the Yoruba that wants to actually exit Nigeria. We hope that you will be able to be part of this program. We're expecting the program to run till 8:30 p.m. local time, and maybe there will be a lot of surprises when it comes on board later on in just half an hour now. Just after our first track, I will be now telling you what press release that we got from Chief Sunday Igboho spokesman. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí a kí gbogbo wa níbikíbi tí ẹ bá ti ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa from different part of the globe. This evening is fully packed. This evening is going to be a very interesting one. This evening you will learn quite a lot as well. What do we understand by those that are campaigning that the Yoruba are better off to exit Nigeria and have their own independent nation? What do you understand by that? And what is your own take? Because what we can say is there is a lot of people that are saying that we should keep Nigeria. Some are saying that Nigeria will still be able to work. It's just that we do not have the right people to make Nigeria work. Are you of the same view as well? Or do you think that look, Nigeria is not going to work? Let us not waste our time. Let us not waste our energy. Let us allow Nigeria to break now so that the next generation, will have a better opportunity. But before I go into that, there was a press release from Chief Sunday Adeyemo. And that press release is something that so many people have been talking about. So let me first and foremost, read that press release, right now. Like I said, this is Star Radio UK. your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'd like to appreciate once again my producer, that is working tirelessly to make sure that we can come online every Wednesday and give you everything you need to know when it comes to the activities, the events, on Star Radio UK. A lot of Nigerians are saying that we can revive Nigeria, we can make Nigeria to work. Do you also believe in that, same 62 years of a failure of a country that did nothing? Or are you going to also now say that Nigeria has actually failed every Nigerian, and maybe it is of the best view that every Nigerian should now decide their fate? But some Nigerians are still saying that we can turn things around. We can make Nigeria and a great country. We can give Nigeria everything that Nigeria needs, and that literally means that we should allow election to hold come 2023. Are you of that same view that election should go ahead in 2023? Or are you of the same view like somebody like me that thinks that Nigeria is no longer, and we should not try to revive it again? Niger Voices on Star Radio UK comes up every Wednesday from 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. We have a guest, and the guest will join us later on at 7 p.m. local time here in London. I want to read some of your comments as well when it comes to moving forward, especially those of us that disagree that Nigeria should continue to exist. We are not Nigerians before 1913. So that means that Nigeria was literally forced on every single Nigerian, and that is why some are now of the same view that since Nigeria is not working, why should we keep Nigeria and why must we save Nigeria? Do you think that we should save Nigeria, or we should just allow Nigeria to go since Nigeria is not working? Take. Do you think that we should keep Nigeria, or we should just allow Nigeria to go? Some say that we can keep Nigeria, we can make Nigeria to work. Are you of the same view that Nigeria will work? Because some of us have been determined that since Nigeria is not working, we should not try to save Nigeria. But there's a lot of Nigerians that are saying that we can manage Nigeria, we can make Nigeria to work. It is just that we don't have the right leaders. Mr. Kayode Emola, when he comes into the program with me, he will be able to give us the way forward when it comes to the Yoruba nation. And this is what is going to be discussed from 7 p.m. But prior to 7 p.m., good evening to you, Maize Gold. Should just let Nigeria to go. Royal Sweet, good evening to you. Good evening to all our listeners from around the globe. In just less than 2 minutes, I will be giving you the press release by Chief Sunday Adeyemo, spokesman, which is myself. The question is, should we keep Nigeria, or should we allow Nigeria to be dissolved, just as Soviet Union was dissolved in 1991, some 31 years ago? How many days before an election will be called in 2023? Are you also expecting that we should go for election, or we should just literally allow Nigeria to be dissolved quietly so that every part of Nigeria would now have peace of mind? What is your take on that? What is your own expectation on that? My name is Olayomi Koiki. It's of Niger Voices on Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. By the time 184 days from today, should the Yorubas do nothing, that means an election will be called, an election would happen in Nigeria. A lot of people are saying that APC might be able to solve the problem. Do you think, or do you believe that? Do you believe that APC will solve the problem in Nigeria? Or do you think that the Yorubas should just quietly allow Nigeria to be dissolved? Which side are you on? You cannot take over our land, just as the northern part of Nigeria has now been taken away by the Fulanis. That is the message that came from Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, just about an hour ago, and this was released by a spokesman. One thing a lot of Nigerians are saying is, we know that there's a lot of problem in Nigeria, but maybe we should just give it one more time, one more opportunity. Are you of the same view that we should give Nigeria maybe another opportunity and Nigeria will be a great country? Do you think that Nigeria will be a great country? Since 1999, so many Nigerians have to go through a lot on a daily basis. The economy of Nigeria is breaking apart. The selfishness of the politicians have not allowed Nigeria to flourish. The killings have been becoming unbearable on the lives of millions of Nigerians. Do you think that we should keep Nigeria today, or we should allow Nigeria to go? I'm going to also be saying to those of you that have joined me this evening, I say welcome. Adetutu, Adegbeson, opportunity bawo. Royal Street said, let's break it up so that all regions can take care of itself. Jonathan, Ife, Beson, we don't have good leader in all parties we have in Nigeria. Selection can't solve the problem. Disintegration is the only solution. Keep your comment coming and we will be interacting with you. My name again is Olayomi Koiki. It's now coming up to 1832. Before I release that press statement from Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, for the benefit of all our listeners from around the globe, I want you to take time and listen to this terrorist attack on one of our brothers, our father, our uncle. He had an hotel in Oyo State, Ogbomoso, and he was killed by the terrorists on the 29th day of July. He was kidnapped. And all we can now say is, both himself and Rachel Okpadele I can confirm to you that Rachel Okpadele have now been buried. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Can you shut the door, please? Emotions run high last week Friday when the family members and friends and gathered to the intel of the remains of the final year student of Ladoke Akintola University in Ogbomoso, in Oyo State precisely. Just as so many people have been buried in Nigeria, we can now confirm that the picture that is coming up now is Rachel to your left hand side. She has now been buried. I'm going to play a voice note, and this particular voice note was released by the other gentleman, Mr. Benga Owolabi. Mr. Oluwagbenga Owolabi was living in America until he relocated back to Nigeria on the 29th day of July last month. He was eventually kidnapped by the Fulani terrorists that the federal government of Nigeria has allowed to infiltrate every part of Nigeria today. We're talking about the Fulani that is committing the same atrocity in Benue State, just as Governor Otom have warned the President Muhammadu Buhari and his government for a very long time. Just the same way the terrorist has been kidnapping and killing people in the southeast, and so many people have been killed and massacred. Maybe we should just give us some timeline. How many of us remember Dr. Chinelo? Dr. Chinelo was killed by the same terrorist on a Kaduna-Abuja train bound, where, as we speak today, more than 30 individual Nigerians are still being held by the terrorists. This is what the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, had to say. Rotimi Amechi said, Kaduna train attack, I warn that lives will be lost. It shows that you do not have a government in the center. Dr. Chinelo was just about 72 hours before she was meant to travel out of Nigeria. She did not survive because Nigeria happened to her. But our beautiful sister, I can now confirm that emotion ran very high when the student, the family, the friends of the final year student Rachel Okpadele was buried at the Baptist Conference Cemetery Aroje in Ogbomoso, Aroje. Okpadele was kidnapped by the terrorists alongside with Mr. Oluwagbenga Owolabi on the right hand side. He is the owner of a hotel where Okpadele, to your left hand side, was working as a part-time due to the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of University, the same thing that a lot of Nigerians are facing today. My question then is, do you still think that Nigeria is workable? Do you still believe that Nigeria can be fixed? For those of you that are saying that we should keep one Nigeria, it's just a question. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and you are now listening and watching because we have people that are listening to us on the MixLR, and likewise we have so many of you that have connected with us on all our platforms. My guest will be joining me later on at 7 p.m. So sit back and he will be telling us everything we need to know in terms of the way forward with Yoruba Nation. I'm going to be giving you what Chief Sunday Igboho said, but let's quickly listen to the voice note that we received from the family member of our uncle, our father, that was killed by the Fulani terrorists that the federal government of Nigeria has allowed to infiltrate every part of Nigeria, including the Yoruba land. This, let's listen to it. For the benefit of those that do not understand what he was actually saying at the beginning, he's saying that my hands have been tied to my back. Blood is no longer flowing. It looks like I'm going to die tonight. And he was eventually killed by the Fulani terrorists that the federal government have allowed to infiltrate Nigeria today.
Okay, maybe 1.4 million, right?
Again, he keeps saying that I'm going to die tonight. The family have said that there is quite a lot to this, but it looks like the federal government, in colluding with the Nigerian police, is now saying that it was never a terrorist attack, it was just an homicide. I don't understand what the police that is already corrupt, that doesn't have the audacity to secure Nigerians, will tell you that what actually happened is not a terrorist attack. That is what the police is saying in Nigeria as of today. That what happened in Ogbomoso that ended up being a terrorist attack is not a terrorist attack. Do you now see the reason why the Yorubas, the Biafrans, and the Middle Belt are all shouting that may Nigeria never happen to you? Let us listen a little bit more Again, this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri will not be appearing later on tonight as we were expecting. That interview have been rescheduled. I'll be telling you as soon as we have all the details. A very good evening to every single one of you. Mr. Michael Awe, good evening. Mr. Dada Peter, good evening. Mr. Simon Adebisi say, do you know that the man recently kidnapped and killed inside a known Yoruba town and terrorized by the bandit was a US citizen? Once again, thank you so much. Good evening to you, Mr. Gregory Olaoluwa. Good evening to you once again, Garland Kolade. Good evening to you, Adewale Adeshope. Aki Gold says self-preservation cannot be overemphasized when faced with essential threat. Kenzie, good evening to you. You say amen. Adeyemo Adeni say Yoruba nation is the answer. Obasanjo Aribaba respect. Nademola Olamilekon say Nigeria is a scam. Baba Felicia always say Ekueto Ekushe Takuntakun. Oyeltade blessing. Good evening to you in Germany and those of you watching all over the world. We should go our separate ways. Yoruba nation no going back. Good evening to you, Mr. Bangboshe Gabriel. Adetutu Edun. Good evening to you, ma. Good evening to you, Mrs. Stella Ojo, watching from United States of America. I say good evening and welcome to each and every one of you. Let us take a time and listen more to the death of our uncle, a voice note that was sent prior to him being killed. He kept saying that the blood is no longer flowing because my hand has been tied to the back and it seems I'm going to die. He eventually was killed by the same terrorist. He was pleading for his life, but the terrorists were not interested. They were more interested in the money. Good evening to you, Mr. Karanwe Abiodun. Good evening to each and every one of you. My guest will be joining me in 20 minutes. But before my guest join me, Adel Fabi Miss Yemi says, please end Nigeria now.
Hello. Sir, good evening. Good evening, sir.
The voice that you are listening to now is the voice of the Fulani terrorist that is negotiating a Yoruba man and a Yoruba woman life, and eventually both were killed by the Fulani terrorist from Niger and the Fulani terrorist that has been brought into the country by the federal government of Nigeria.
Oh, fine, thank you, sir. What do you have this night? That's what I'm saying. The money is now 1.4. Ogbeni, do you hear me? Yes, sir. Ogbeni, I'm not going to sleep here today. I will kill this Baba to go.
The Fulani terrorist in this audio is saying that I will kill this Baba to go. A very good evening to you as you are watching us on Twitter. We have quite a lot of people that are listening on Twitter. Don Holla, good evening. Kali Kipa, good evening. Oshorinde K, good evening. Prince Adesoye, good evening. And welcome to Star Radio UK as we review, is Nigeria still visible to keep together? Or should we say enough of being part of a contraction that was put together with 371 different ethnic groups by the British government in 1914 and has now become a monster to so many indigenous people? Let's listen more to the conversation of the audio clip that took place between a Fulani terrorist and the innocent Yoruba man and a Yoruba woman that the federal government, the state governor Seyi Makinde, could not rescue, and he was eventually killed. And Rachel Okpadele, according to what we have, has been buried last week Friday. May her soul rest in peace.
Sorry, please. Why Baba tell you make you money, you know, go bring you money for Baba, send your own money. I said he has asked me to talk to people and I've talked to them. If they have given me the money, why I don't go bring them? You can't waste my time, Harry. No, besides, they waste your time. Oh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oshorin K. Thank you so much.
What is the thing where they are at? I'm trying to see if I can get it up to 2 million tomorrow. Maybe.
You can hear that there is a negotiation of money between the family and the Fulani terrorists that eventually killed these two individuals last week. But my problem now is, why is the Nigerian government trying to change the narrative? The Nigerian government is telling us that what actually took place is not a Fulani terrorist. And I have a lot of proof to tell the federal government that what took place was a Fulani attack. And if you look at this man, he's not a madman. The man that you are looking behind me from what the engineer has put out is not a madman. Again, is the federal government going to deny that Mr. Sulaiman, a Yoruba man, a motorist that was kidnapped with all the other passengers, did not happen? Is the federal government going to come back and tell us that Mr. Sulaiman, that you are looking at his picture behind me, was not kidnapped for 4.5 months in Nigeria, in Kaduna, not outside Nigeria? This is a country that have spent billions and billions of dollars and naira, trillions of naira, but yet could not save the lives of Nigeria today. My question then is, should we continue with Nigeria, or should we just allow Nigeria to go? But millions of Nigerians have been getting their PVC, saying that they will use their PVC to take away the present government and bring in a new government that will work for me and you. Do you believe in that? So if the government is saying that the killings that took place of our father, I'm talking about Mr. Oluwa Benga Owolabi and Rachel, both were killed by a Fulani terrorist. Let's listen a little bit more, and in about 4 minutes, I will then release the statement from Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho.
2 million. We just gave 1.4 now. You know, I told you in the afternoon when you called me, said the fee never, it don't go beyond it's less than 1 million. But now, it don't reach 1.4. You understand?
So for those that might not understand, let me give you, the pounds rate of what is being negotiated on the lives of a Yoruba man and what it was eventually paid, as of today. The exchange rate is about 805. So what was being negotiated, we'll be talking about almost give and take just about 1,900 pounds. But that was not the final figure that was paid. The final figure that was paid to the same Fulani terrorists by the family in the hope that they will release their loved one was almost about 10,000 pounds. So, well, not 10,000 pounds, just about maybe about 7,000 pounds if we look at the exchange rate. Yeah, almost 7,000 pounds was paid to a life that was eventually killed by a Fulani terrorist that has now invaded Nigeria. But why is the international community not so much concerned about the incapable of the government to protect the lives of citizens? Do we now say that every Nigerian must carry arms to defend themselves? Or how do you defend yourself? Because if the government cannot defend you, the security is being attacked, the government institution is being overrun, even Abuja is no longer safe. My question then is, what are we all going to do? For those of you that believe in Nigeria. Good evening to you, Mr. Larry Anyoride. What do we do? What should we tell our loved ones at home to be doing to protect themselves? Mr. Abiola says the federal government is not working. Good evening to you, Mr. Olaiwola. Good evening to you, Mrs. Felicia Awe. You also say, no, we can't continue. Yoruba nation we want freedom for our people. Good evening to you, Mr. Matthew. Are you with me? This is Naija Voices. Good evening to you, Mrs. Oluremi Ogabi. Good evening to you as you are all settling into the program. Moses Olaniro says, those with that statement of mind of using PVC to these Fulani terrorists, Buhari away and brings Tinubu, the killer of NSAS protester. Why people are so daft? This is what Moses had to say. Continue with your comment. I will read them out. Good evening to you, Mrs. Esther Ewetuga, JP. Yoruba Nation not going back with thumbs up. Jonathan, you say we don't have good leader. Okay, I think I read that already. Keep your comment coming and I'll continue to read them in random. Like I said, in 10 minutes, I'm going to have my guest. And because of time constraint, I'm going to go straight to the press release by Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. And this was released by his spokesman an hour ago before we came on air. Quite a lot is happening in Nigeria. Chief Tola Adeniyi will be appearing on the media town hall meeting later on this evening. You can also tune in at some point. And these, like I said, are so many activities that is going on simultaneously this particular evening. Do you believe that the federal government actually got hold of those that attack the Catholic Church in Owo? Also, are you aware that the Yoruba UK Central Office has a project center office at Camberwell with a phone number to contact the office, a website, and also an email address? You can check it out on the www.yorubaconsulate.com. If you need to contact them, the number is +44203 551 8625. I'll repeat the number again, +44203 551 8625 or +44 912 7851. I repeat again, +44 912 785. And if you're in America, +1 301 547 9369, +1 301 5479 369, or email ecco@yukgb.org. Or you can also, from what I've been told, that every Wednesday you can get in touch with them from 11 o'clock up to 3 p.m. at Camberwell office 204A Cold Abbott Lane, Camberwell SW9 8SA. All these details will be put out for those of you that would like to find out one or two things about Yoruba Nation from the Yoruba Central Office here in London. Now let's quickly go into the headline, because when my guest comes in, he's going to be taking over and he has a lot to discuss with me this evening. Once again, I welcome you to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, if you're joining us, I welcome you as you are all joining from different parts of the globe. Yoruba Nation is what we want. Yoruba Nation is the only way forward. This is the press release by Chief Sunday Adeyemo. You cannot take over Yoruba land, just as the northern part of Nigeria has been taken over by the Fulani terrorists. I, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, I am a Yoruba Nation self-determination activist, and a Yoruba Nation must stand, no going back. President Muhammadu Buhari said yesterday that we, and let me take that back once again, we do apologize. I'm going to take it back all over again. It is important that we continue to tell the international community that the situation in Nigeria is not a religious fight. It is the criminal activities of the Fulani terrorists that has invaded Nigeria. Let's go again. Press release. You cannot take over Yoruba land, just as the northern part of Nigeria has been taken over by Fulani terrorists. I, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, I am a Yoruba nation self-determination activist, and a Yoruba nation must stand. No going back. President Muhammadu Buhari said yesterday that we Yoruba people are friends with the Hausa people. This is true. We are friends with Hausa, Igbo, Kanuri, and all the other ethnic groups, but we retain and maintain our indigenous nationality that we were created by Almighty God. We have Omoluabi in our nature. This is why we have shown great hospitality to anyone that comes as a stranger to our Yoruba land. The activities of the Fulani, both Nigeria Fulani and most especially the foreign Fulani, according to the federal government of Nigeria, lately had made us wanting to regret both our hospitality and generosity. The British that amalgamated the northern and the southern Nigeria together knew we are not the same. We Yoruba are not fools. We know that Nigeria resources comes mostly from southern Nigeria, yet the southern Nigeria that are used and still being used today used to develop the northern Nigeria and now being extended to their brothers in Niger Republic. Yet the foreign terrorists from Niger Republic and the environs are surrounding our forest, kidnapping, killing, and wreaking havoc on Yoruba people. We know what the Fulani did to you Hausas. All the emirs in the north are Fulani, all the governors are Fulani as well. We know vividly how they systematically subdue and conquer the Hausas in their land. But let them know now. Let them know now we are Yoruba. Ìjà tí àjà títí ẹnìkan ò gbọdọ̀ jẹ́ Dagunro. And I guess we have our guests, but I'm going to quickly do this audio and then we continue. No, it is impossible. And Fulani will realize that. This is why Yoruba nation is not going back. We know we were not the same in regard to culture, history, and beliefs and values, even our geography. So must we rule over one another. Let everyone manage their own territory as created by God, not the British creation called Nigeria. The killings, meaning losses of income and damage to Yoruba people's landed properties. Enough is enough. We know these killings are nothing to the Fulani, but it means a lot to we the Yoruba people. And that is why President Muhammadu Buhari had kept quiet on the Fulani killings, and the president has done absolutely nothing to stop these killings. We know President Buhari is the patron of all the Fulani worldwide, but Yoruba land can never be conquered by Fulani. President Muhammadu Buhari was reminding Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbos of the massacre they carried out during the Biafra War. The president should know that this can never be repeated again in any of our land. We have all woken up to the Fulani agenda. The Middle Belt people have also been killed. Everyone knows who is behind all these atrocities, and President Muhammadu Buhari is their life patron. So we Yoruba are pulling out and reclaiming our sovereignty, and as we were before the British colonized, it is our God-given right. There is no going back on our quest for Yoruba nation self-determination. I want to issue warning to all these terrorist Fulani, home and foreign Fulani in Yoruba forest, to leave now before it is too late. When the Alale Yoruba fully begins, most of you would not live to tell the story. Olayomi Koiki, spokesman for Chief Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho, 10th of August 2022. And that is the update. And I guess I have my guests that have joined us. I can only see myself coming out of the screen, and I hope I can see my guests already, and I believe that the engineer will be working behind the screen to bring my guest in with me so that we will be on the same par. I welcome you to Star Radio UK while the engineers are bringing you onto the screen so that all our audience can see you. I can see you from this part, and I say good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Thank you very much, Koiki.
You're welcome. Good evening. For the benefit of our listeners that have joined us, we were looking forward and we have been waiting for you. And, we really appreciate your time that you're going to be educating us tonight. I will expect all our listeners to please have pen and paper so that, when anything is said, you will be able to, we will be able to get as much information. I've got mine as well. For the benefit of our listeners, if you would like to introduce yourself, and I say once again, you're live with us. We are streaming on multiple platforms, both on our apps, on the MixLR, on almost all the social media, including Twitter. We're live on Instagram. And I say welcome once again to Star Radio UK. And yes, that is our guest that have just appeared on the screen lining with me. I say good evening, Mr. Kayode Emola, and let us welcome you to Star Radio UK. Okay, we lost your sound there. We can't hear you.
Oh, apologies. I think my audio was playing up. So good evening. Thank you for having me today. Hopefully we can educate ourselves again and see where we are and where we're going on our Yoruba Nation struggle.
Thank you so much. Because of our, we want to make sure we use all the time, that we, because people like you are very, very difficult, and we're not charging. You're not charging us to bring you on air, and that means we want to value the time. I'm just going to allow you to crack on. I know you've got a lot that you want to discuss. We have up to 8:30, but you can tell me when you want to come out, and then we will allow you to bow out. I know we will bring you back, but the programs eventually end at 8:30, so we have ample of time. We do not take calls, but we probably maybe take comments, from our listeners, later on. But here we go, Mr. Kayode Emola. You're welcome to Star Radio UK. What we're going to be discussing is the Yoruba Nation way forward. A lot of people have looked at different options. I don't know what option is viable. We don't know what option is out there. But what I can say is, looking at what the United Nations is saying, I know that we have right according to the United Nations, but I will let you to present what you have for us this evening, and then when I need to interject, I will let you know. Go ahead, Mr. Kayode Emola.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Koiki. The Yoruba Nation struggle, some people will tell you it's been on since 1937, during the time of Abat Macaulay. And then after the Second World War in 1945, nations were given the right to self-determination. It was the first article on the charter that nations can now start asking for self-determination. And that was where the issue of self-determination came, to get mostly African countries and the Caribbeans that were in the hands of the colonizers to begin to free themselves. So it was like a process of redemption. So a lot of Africans key into that. Now look at the time they gave that edict in 1945, June. It didn't take until 1956 when Egypt and Sudan got their independence from Britain. And then in 1957, Ghana got their independence. And then Nigeria started clamoring for independence. At that time, a lot of people would tell you they wanted Yoruba to go on their own way. So Yoruba was ready as of 1957 because we started our own self-rule in 1952. So after 5 years, the British thought, you go, the North were not ready. And then we said, no, let's get the independence as a collective body. So let's not leave one part behind, which perhaps in hindsight, we shouldn't have done. And if you get a lot of Caribbean countries, they've only just got their independence. Some even recently, I think it was Jamaica that's just removed the monarchy from their political system. And a lot of countries are also, if you look at a country like Australia, they are also asking that let's remove the monarchy as the head of state and have probably a president or what have you in Australia. So let's come back to Yoruba land and Yoruba people. Now, we were Yoruba. The British never had intention to colonize or to have protectorates. So they ruled Nigeria as a trading post. Having ruled us as a trading post, they took Lagos as a colony and then have us as protectorate. So when they had us as protectorate, we are on two parts. So the Yorubas are what you would call the Jaw nation. They call them Niger Delta, but that makes no meaning. Niger and Delta it has no meaning. They are Ijaw, the Ogoni people. We have the Benin, and then we have the Igbo people. And then they joined us with the North. So we were first amalgamated across the East, and then amalgamated to the North as well. So that did a lot of harm for us as Yoruba people. It did a lot of harm in the sense that at the time when we were amalgamated, Yoruba region was making nearly 70-80% of the revenue, which is still the same till today. So our railway then was earning up to about £1 million in revenue. Now we have palm oil and palm produce, which was also producing quite a lot of substantive revenue, which was coming from the Ogoni land, parts of Yoruba land. And then we have cocoa, and we have different set of resources that was making money. And then we have VAT that was also bringing money. At that time, Yoruba had 1.7 million in our reserve, but the North had practically nothing. The North had nothing. So the British government was subsidizing the North to the tune of £240,000. Now, £1 in those days, in the 1900s, is equivalent to £122 or 125 if you want to do the multiplication. So the North was not bringing anything. Britain was subsidizing them, and then they now use the Yoruba resources. And that was the reason for amalgamation in the first place. But that's not all. Our railway is being on for over 20-30 years, and it was beginning to develop a lot of revenue. 25% of the economy was coming from proceeds from railway. So what the British officials did then was to take part of that our money, £1.8 million, and then they borrowed £6 million from the British government. To all the money in total was about £8 million. And again, you multiply it by 122 to get what it is today. All those money was taken to build the Eastern Railway Network, which is for the Igbo side. Now, the Igbo has not really developed their trade at that time. So if anybody is telling you the Igbo is this, the Igbo is that, no, they've not developed their trade. So they borrowed that money to build the Eastern Railway. Now, why did they borrow that money to build the railway? It is not to develop the people. That was because they discovered coal in Enugu. At the time coal was discovered in Enugu, they also discovered limestone. And once limestone was discovered, limestone was also discovered in Ilorin. So connect the dots. They built the railway from, so then they developed Port Harcourt. The reason why they now developed Port Harcourt, they were thinking Port Harcourt was going to be tough because of the terrain, the marshy, the creaky land. So, but it wasn't as bad as they thought. So they developed Port Harcourt, and we all knew Harcourt came from the Lord Harcourt, which was the international, the foreign secretary at that time. So he gave Lugard the mandate, and that's why they name it Port Harcourt. So they built that railway. So Tabawo, you will see that Yoruba money has always been involved in the building of Nigeria, right from 1800s up until the 1900s. And that's because we were the first to be colonized. Lagos was colonized in 1861 when Britain started, but Britain has been coming since 1825, was when they've started penetrating the Yoruba land, but they've not got into the hinterland. So the Yoruba is not something we would say we had an homogeneous government. We had the Malafia in its own parts. We have the Awujale. We have the several parts of Yoruba kingdoms doing their thing. But they were peaceful. They had this, what you would call peace treaty. It was one Yoruba, but different governments. So they had like peace treaty, they had understanding. Oyo can never, ever attack Ife. Ife will never attack Oyo. And Oyo will not attack Ilaro or attack any of its neighbors. Likewise, the neighbors will not attack Oyo. So we had that mutual understanding, and we've grown our own cities, we've developed our own government, we've developed our own system. So having done that, we were unfortunate to find ourselves in Nigeria unquestioned. The first opportunity to kick off against any merging was from the south. We didn't. And then we moved, we were amalgamated with the north. And at that time, the north was only making 70,000 pounds. So compare 70,000 pounds in those days, multiply it by 122, with about 4 million pounds we were already making in the south, both from VAT, both from taxes. Even the taxes alone, we were generating about 122,000 pounds annually from direct tax, income tax. You collect your salary and you pay tax. We were generating about 122,000, and the plan was that our economy will grow to the extent that the income tax will be generated will be amounting up to 1 million pounds in those days, which will be equivalent to what the railway is bringing into the economy. So the people who went to negotiate the independence for us, perhaps they weren't familiar with the history of where we've come from and how we've come. A lot of people, I hear these historical mistakes we Yorubas are always making, because we always think it is the Fulani, but it is we playing it to ourselves. You hear this idea of one Nigeria, and I want to dispel that rumor, because a lot of people ask, where does this one Nigeria perspective come from? Where did this one Nigeria ideology came from? It is from the Yoruba people. And that one Nigeria, we deceptively used it to deceive ourselves, thinking we are doing other people. Now, from time immemorial, even during the amalgamation and after the amalgamation, there was nothing like one Nigeria. So let people who continue to profess that, oh, they want to be president of Nigeria or they want to be leader of Nigeria, there was nothing like one Nigeria. The system that was put in place, Nigeria as an amalgamated entity had two constituents, which is the Southern Protectorate and the Northern Protectorate. When they merged together to become Nigeria, it was two governments. It's just like how we have China and Taiwan. China is running a different government. Taiwan is running a different government. It did not mix. So Lugard, who stood at the head then, did not mix. And Lugard said something. At that time, our population was about 16 million. Between 16 to 17, he reckoned. And he said, the population is too big for it to be one country. That if he had the opportunity, he would split it to between 4 to 7. That was Lugard in his own wisdom. So he would split it to between 4 and 7. So it was two, north and south. The south were doing their own thing. You did not take direct the left. So we have the lieutenant governor. The lieutenant governor was always in charge. So we had two lieutenant governors, one in the south and one in the north. The one in the south monitored the affairs of the south and did not interfere with whatever was going on in the north. And the one in the north was doing its own affairs and did not interfere with whatever is going in the south. So they manage their education, they manage their police, they manage their own affairs, health, and all those other issues. NIPOST was the same. The railway, they merged it together. And they merged the railway because they felt that merging it would be easier for them so that they can link the north with the south by road or by rail. And that's just to bring goods from Maiduguri, from Kano, from Sokoto down to the south and then ship it via the Atlantic Ocean. The second reason was there was two custom posts. The first one was in Apapa, the second one was in Jebba. So by amalgamating the two countries, you remove that custom post in Jebba. But then, because there's not going to be custom posts in Jebba, you now have a situation where the tariffs for the duties or whatever is going to the north, whatever was adjusted. If a product was going to the north, the tariff was adjusted such that they can get some revenue to send to the north for development. And that was that. But the Yoruba still controlled everything that was within their domain. So after the riot, I think in 1949, the British said, okay, if that is the case, we'll give you self-rule. So they propagate, and in 51, we had Macpherson Constitution, and they gave us self-rule. Now, the second mistake we now made was, who gave us the name Western Nigeria? Because I don't know where our leaders of thought, where they sit down to make this decision. They gave us Western Nigeria. Now, I would have expected, because majority of those people who negotiated it, they schooled in Britain. So they should have been aware that in Britain, we have 4 countries in one. And it's not by size. It is by your ethnicity or your nationality. So we have Wales. Wales is a country in the United Kingdom, and they maintain their own space. It's not big. Their population is not up to 5 million even today, but they maintain their own space. We have England in the United Kingdom, which is numbering nearly 50 million. Look at the gap between England and Wales. Wales is not even up to 5 million. England is nearly 50 million. Yet, the bigger country is still doing their own thing. Wales is doing their own thing, and they are within the same United Kingdom. The Welsh police is different from the English police. The same thing, you have Scotland. Scotland are doing their own thing. And I will shock you, because Wales and England, they probably use the same currency. But if you go to Scotland, you have a different currency. You have it's still pounds, but it's different Scottish currency, which is not mixed with the English pounds. So you have Scottish pounds, the Scottish patriots, the Scottish nationalists, whatever they want to do with their money, they put the face of whoever they want to put there. The English does the same thing, and Northern Ireland too do the same thing. So if you are in England and you've lived in England for all your life and you've never been to Scotland, you may never see Scottish pound until you die. If you are in Wales and you've never been to Northern Ireland, you may never see Northern Irish pounds until you die. So they spend their money. Now, coming to Nigeria, our situation, what our founding fathers would have done then was to say, okay, good. We don't want to concern ourselves with, even if you want to say it's Nigeria, I've never seen Western British or Eastern British or Northern British or South Middle Belt British or local British, or British is British. But within the British, you now have your nationality. So within Britain, so within Nigeria, we have our own Yoruba nation, our Yoruba flag. Nigeria can have its flag. We have our own Yoruba nation. We have our flag. We have our people. We have our language. We have our rules. We have our laws, and it is maintained. We have our own police and everything. That is what was supposed to have happened. But for some reasons, they were carried away. And they started bearing Western Nigeria. Western Nigeria. Western Nigeria. But all those was a trick. Because the trick was for a greater thing that they were planning that we were not suspecting. So a lot of people are also saying 2023, Yoruba will be president. When Yoruba will be president, but how does that equate? So in 1951, we should have just been Yoruba nation or Yoruba country while still negotiating whether we want to be a part of Nigeria. There was nothing that should push us closer or nearer or farther from Nigeria. We should have just been on our own space, doing our own thing. Even if we want to get our own currency, we get our own currency, we get our own flag, we get our own anthem, we get our own rules, we get our own law. But we did not. We said we are Western Nigeria and we are affiliated with Nigeria. And that is why you see that all the achievements of Western Nigeria, all they did was to remove Western and then turn it into Nigeria. And now you would think that it is the corrupt nation, Nigeria, who owns all those things. The Nigeria House in London was named Western Nigeria House. So they removed the Western and they call it Nigeria House. The Western Nigeria TV, which is supposed to be Yoruba TV, they removed the Western and call it Nigeria. All everything we have, even our radio station, they removed Western and they turned it to Nigeria. And before you knew it, we lost everything we had. And everybody, every time since then, has been looking to go back to that arrangement. To go back. But why should we look to go back when in the first place that arrangement was a mistake? Now, what are the mistakes that happened? To have your sovereignty, you need to have your head of state. To have your head of state, nations grow organically. And what do I mean? It is people of like minds that come together to form a nation. That is not in the case of Nigeria. When Nigeria was first put together, when the Southern Protectorate was put together, it wasn't the Malafia and the Eze or the Obi in the east, or Oba in Benin, or the Ebong of Calabar that came together to say we want to be one nation. No. It was all the British machinations bringing people of unlike minds together. And then they put us with the North. So what should we have done? In 1957, we should have sat down and look at where we have come from, where we are, and what should be our projection, either for the next 50 years, 20 years, or 100 years, which is what we will be looking at in perspective from today. We didn't do that. We allowed ourselves to be cajoled. We allowed ourselves to be fooled. We allowed ourselves to be used. We now got into Nigeria. Unfortunately, they say they discovered oil in Olayomi in the Niger Delta, and oil became a thing. Apart from that, we went into 1960. We were thinking, everybody was thinking they would rule Nigeria. So exactly, if you look at 1960 till 2022, nothing has changed in the political or regional arrangement of Nigeria, because we have the Yoruba nation wanting to dominate, thinking because we are more educated, because we are more sophisticated, because we are more enlightened, we will rule these people. That was the position we took. Look at the East. The East too had the same thing in mind, because they think at that time, they were more in the civil service, they were more in the army, and they were more in the in where you talk of spread. The Igbo was well traveled in the 1950s before we got our independence. So they thought with their exposure, they are in a better position to rule over these people. And then what happened in the north as well? The north also had the same agenda, the same intention to rule. So everything is just being about regional dominance and not the formation of a nation. We went into that, Yoruba lost, Igbo lost, and the Fulani won, who are not even a tribal indigene of Nigeria. Fulani won, and we did not suspect. We were playing it as though, anyway, if that happened, we would repair it in 1964. So the plan is, in 1964, they would repair it. But having held on to power, what did the Fulani do? First, they put Paolowo in prison for an offense he did not commit. Second, they put emergency rule in Western, I don't want to call Western Nigeria because that was a mistake of the past. They put it in Yoruba region to curtail our progress. And before you knew it, the army came in 1966. Ill-prepared, ill-timed, and thinking they would bring the solution. And the plan of the army then was to bring about a unitary government. And that was where our problem started. The plan of the army was to bring unitary government. How can you bring unitary government for a people who are not homogeneous? Even the Yoruba, you cannot say Yoruba is totally homogeneous, even though they speak the same language and understand themselves. Because you will not tell me the way Ikale behaves is the way Ijebu behaves. And Ijebu man is very industrious. He works hard, he makes a lot of money, but he wants to save his money for his future and for his children. You will not say that's the same thing for the whole Yorubas. Some other Yorubas, they want to make money, they want to party, enjoy, and leave small thing for their children. So you need to understand the dynamics of people before you even say you want to form a nation. You must be really closely aligned. And even when you are not closely aligned, you must agree that this is the template you want to use. So when the military truncated that part for Yoruba people in 1966, that time was when the die was cast. Who should have saved Yoruba? Paolowo was still alive, but he was now in prison. Before he came out of prison, they've already enacted decree, I think decree 48 or decree 14 by Aguiyi-Ironsi in May 1966 for the unification of Nigeria, to remove all the regional governors and make Nigeria a homogeneous country. What a fallacy. What an irony. And that was when our problem began. Now, when this arrangement was there, the Igbos never said anything because they were now in charge. And this gives them what they have been planning for, to rule Nigeria. Not that I'm denigrating the Igbo people or whatever, but if it was Yoruba, it was the same thing they would have done. And the Fulani people, we are not going to have any of it. The Fulani we are not going to have any of it. And so the Fulani staged a secession. That if that is the case, let everybody go their way. Let the Fulani go, let Yoruba go, and let Igbo go. Now, I told us it was always two regions, two different nations, the north and the south. So we have a lieutenant governor in the south, and we have a lieutenant governor in the east, in the north. But mind you, Lugard said if he had opportunity, he was going to split it into 4 or 7 nations within one nation, because it's too, in terms of land mass, it's too big. And look at our population then, we were only 16 million, not up to 17 million. So fast forward to 1957, we had already been split into 3 now. The Yoruba nation was now identified and given their own space. The Igbo nation was identified and given, I say Igbo, but I know we have Ogoni, we have the Calabas and all the tribes. They were given their own region, and the British was always concerned of the minority tribes that were within these 2 bigger nations, which were the Yoruba and the Igbos. But and then the middle belt, I say the middle belt, the North, they weren't regarded as middle belt. It was only a recent phenomenon that they brought them to middle belt. But they were the British knew that the middle of Nigeria was quite different. Even Lugard said there were about 60 tribes in that area, but he was going to force all of them to identify as Hausa and speak Hausa. He said the Kanuri tribe was also a very, they have a large population, but their language is too difficult. So he's not going to reckon with the Kanuri, but he's going to force them to speak the Hausa. And another irony was that the British officials were encouraging the British who came to rule Nigeria to speak the indigenous language. So the traders, because they came to trade, they were encouraging the traders to speak Yoruba, they were encouraging the traders to speak Igbo, they were encouraging the traders to speak Hausa, and not just speak Hausa, speak other dialects and other languages that were within Nigeria. But today, what do we see? We see a Yoruba discouraging their children from speaking the Yoruba language, which is such a shame. So from the 1966, when they staged that secession, they succeeded and they wanted to leave. Muritala Mohammed, who later became head of state, he had already stationed a plane to fly all the northerners away. Lagos was the headquarters. So their fear then was that they don't want the Yorubas to kill them. So Muritala was very dogmatic. He was very stiff and very, how will I call it? He was very, will I say, I don't know what language to qualify him, but he was very firm on his demand that they must go. It is we Yorubas that stopped him from going again in 1967. And so they insisted that if we will not allow them go, the North must be the person to produce the president of Nigeria. That was the condition they gave, that if we will not let them go, they must produce the president of Nigeria. And then they brought in Gowon. Gowon was not the senior person in the military. He was the number 4. But they had to make way for Gowon to be president, to appease Muritala. But whilst Gowon was president, Muritala was always at his back. Gowon was not a Fulani. Gowon was not a Muslim. But Gowon ruled Nigeria and they left him to do his thing. And he did Nigeria to the best of his ability, even though it was part of the people who ruined Nigeria. Fast forward to 1976. Gowon was removed in something you would call a palace school. He was in Addis Ababa during the OAU program. And they used his very close person to announce that he has resigned. And Muritala came in. Now, when Muritala came in, Muritala mentioned something. Because they told Muritala that Muritala, why are you not using security? Muritala said the problem in Nigeria, he doesn't think anybody can solve it. That even if they want to kill him, they would have been doing him a very big favor. That was 1976. Muritala, in the space of 6 months, did quite a lot for Nigeria. The many projects Muritala did in 1976, if we have 1/10 of it, Nigeria would have been better. Muritala brought international telecoms. Muritala was the first person that signed telecoms that was supposed to provide telecommunication for every Nigerian then. But that money entered ground. And that was why Fela was singing for Obasanjo, that where did that money go? Because Obasanjo was the person who became president or head of state after Muritala, that they should ask Obasanjo where the ITT money went. I don't think every Nigerian got telephone in their house. Some few people got. We had telephone in our house, but that was what the British left, not on the back of what Muritala had signed for us to get. Obasanjo now gave out all our remaining assets to the Fulani government of Nigeria, signed everything out, introduced land use charge, gave all our land out. And that is where we lost our land in the first place, because Obasanjo was the person who brought the land use charge to charge people for their own land again. Now, after that was done, we started patching it, seeing what would happen. Awolowo contested in 1979 thinking he would win the presidency. He did not win. They brought another Fulani man. And what happened? The military came again, and it was his person of Buhari. Buhari came and did whatever he would do. And he wasn't ruling then, but we had the Diagbon. But two of them were kicked out, and they brought Babangida. Babangida, up until Abacha, Nigeria was literally bankrupt. Nigeria was bankrupt. There was nothing. When Babangida had a oil windfall in 1991-92, he got about $12 billion. Till today, we don't know where that money went to. $12 billion. That was around 1991-92. Babangida announced that he wants to hand over, just so that he will take that money, go on retirement. And when the pressure was also too much, he intentionally wanted to give to Abiola, but Abacha swore that it will never happen, because Abacha felt that they had an unwritten agreement between himself and Babangida that Babangida was going to hand over to him. And so Abacha was going to be head of state. Abacha came in, Abacha died, and then there was the question of what next for the Yoruba. We had another opportunity. It was the best time for our elders and our leaders to say, oh, let's decide what we want. Do we want to go back to our Yoruba nation within Nigeria? Let's have our Yoruba nation. Let the Igbo have their thing. Let the Arewa have their thing. And let us design it and have a nation that will be independent. So you could have one president and have 3 prime ministers at that time. The president would be figurehead, while the prime ministers will be ruling their own region, developing their region as they see fit. But what did we have? We had Abdul Salam call some few people together to write a constitution of domination. They wrote that constitution of domination. And as at that time, they didn't have much money to propagate their takeover or whatever that they were planning. And the pressure was on Abdul Salam to hand over. And the then Oni, from a meeting they attended, said, if that is what they want to do, he's pulling his Yoruba out of Nigeria. And when Oni threatened them that he's pulling the Yoruba out of Nigeria, they did everything to pacify Yoruba. Only that they outsmarted Yoruba again. Because they told us to go and pick anybody to come and be president who is a Yoruba. Not knowing that they already have a mind of somebody who they would bring. So they went into prison to bring out Obasanjo, who they know that Obasanjo had been tried and tested. Obasanjo handed over power to the Fulani in 1979. So they had the belief that if Obasanjo were to live there, he would give power back to the Fulani. And why is this illusion so? The illusion is they make us believe in Yoruba land that the north is more than the south. Number one, that is a very big lie. At least I have traveled to at least no less than 24 states in Nigeria. And I can tell you that that is categorical lie. Now, things that you could use in debunking that lie is, look at Niger Republic. The population of Niger Republic is not up to the population of Kano. How come Niger Republic, that is an independent, and they are the same people, are not growing in population the way the northern Nigeria population are growing? So you see that that is a lie. If you go to the north, you can drive for like 30-40 kilometers without seeing a village, without seeing the people. All you'll be seeing is desert. So these people, when it gets to election time, they will bring, they have a lot of children. I'm not going to deny that. When it gets to election time, they bring their children to register to vote. Even the one they just give birth to, they bring them to register to vote. And then they count them as population. Even before, they count their cows as population. And so that they have used to bump the population. Because in the north, the rule they use is the feudal system. The feudal system, even up until 1960, they were still using the feudal system. And what does the feudal system do? The feudal system is such that you can have just 50 people, control the economy of the state, collect whatever they want to collect from all the peasants and whatever in terms of what revenue and receipts. If they like, they collect £4 million, they can put £100 that is what they realize for that year, and that is what they will put down. And so that is the feudal system. So what the feudal system does is, you can ask a lot of people, if you ask them what is your population, they have the right to tell you whatever it is. So they can tell you today that their population is 300 million. How they get it, you cannot question it.
Right.
So that is the feudal system for you. But in the south, we follow the rule of law until we were being corrupt by that northern system. So if it's at what dancing,
Yeah.
we are now at a crossroad. Now, before I get to where we are, in 2018, I was very naive that, Nigeria will be a great country. It's good to be one. Let's remain as one. I had an argument with my friend, and then I was quite enthusiastic. I said, I want to go and live in the north. And I went to the north to live in the north for about 2-3 years. And my life was threatened twice. Once by a stranger, second time by somebody who we work together in the same institution. And I thought, the first time I could say, well, maybe it was a fluke. But the second time, to me, that did not resemble a fluke. And the two of them made mention of the same thing. That the one Nigeria we are propagating in the south, they are not part of one Nigeria. And that is why I say the one Nigeria illusion we keep carrying in Yoruba land is just the Yoruba people. It is nothing. It has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with the North. It's just the Yoruba people propagating one Nigeria, and that is why you will see that it is our shout that is much for restructuring. Because as far as they are concerned, from 1960 to 2022, they've consolidated, they've restructured Nigeria, and that is all. We either take it or we suck in it. And definitely, when people are arrogant like that, all you just need to do is point them to Yugoslavia, point them to USSR, point them to Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia is not even a good example. USSR is a good example. Yugoslavia is a good example. Because you can only hold a people to some certain extent. Now, being that as it may, from 1960 to 2022, 62 years, we are now back to square one. We are now back to square one.
And I know you want to go into the next phase of the conversation, and I really appreciate because you've actually, take us back, to the memory lane, because some of us are forgetful. Some of us are probably not even remembering a lot of things that happened during those era. And I'm sure, as you were speaking, it will be a mind blowing. And that's what I said. We needed a lot of pen and paper to take notes. I know you want to move into the next phase, and which is what the conversation tonight is all about. The way forward. Something that you said, that really touched me is the last statement that we've now gone back to square one. So, do we move from square one to square two, or what will be the actualization? For a lot of Nigerians that are still hoping that the drums out there this evening in the Igbo land, in some part of Yoruba land, in the Arewa land, in the Middle Belt, is the drum of 2023. Are you saying that those Nigerians are not aware of all this history that you have laid down moving forward?
Thank you, Mr. Koiki. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of where we have come from up until today. And it's not ignorance on their part. It's just because when you tell a lie consistently, it appears true. And I'm saying this with all sincerity of purpose, because I've got a lot of master's degree students who are in the United Kingdom, who I sit down and I tell about all these things, and they said nobody ever told them. These are master's degree students. So if we're telling you that there's massive darkness among our people, it is deliberate. If a master's student does not know all these things I'm telling you, I'm not sure a lot of our traditional leaders know this. And I'm not sure a lot of our political leaders as well know this. You will be surprised. So if the people who are leading, the Bible says something. It says, if the blind is leading the blind, the only thing you can expect is that they will fall inside a ditch, which is what has been happening to us for a very long time. We've had the blind leading Nigeria and Nigerians, and that is why we not. So when we are firm and saying we want Yoruba nation, we want Yoruba nation, we want Yoruba nation, a lot of people talk, oh, these people can never get anywhere. But now, what everybody is now singing is Yoruba nation, Yoruba nation. All we've achieved with that is to make people aware of who they are. That first, you are Yoruba. Second, you are a nation. Before you think of Nigeria. And myself, it was in 2013. I met a Welsh woman. I was working with the woman in the same place. In the UK, they ask you, how do you want to identify yourself? Because they want you to know your heritage. And then they ask you, are you British? Are you English? Are you Scottish? Are you Welsh? Are you Irish? Are you white? Are you black? Are you mixed? They ask you all these things. I know in Nigeria, what they do is they ask you your state of origin and your local government of origin. So they don't ask you beyond that. So, but when you ask people, they will say Southwest region, Southwest region, and that's annoying in the ear. Why not Yoruba region? Because when you say Yoruba region, then you start thinking of yourself as Yoruba first. And then you begin to ask, if it is Yoruba region, why is Ilorin, that is nearly 90% Yoruba, why are they not part of the Yoruba region? Why is the part of Kogi that are speaking Yoruba, why are they not part of Yoruba region? And the parts of Edo, the Akoko Edo, which is in Edo State, they speak Yoruba, why are they not in the Yoruba region? And so on like that. So what Nigeria has done is feed us a lie that we are Western Nigeria. So they took that Western away, say it is Nigeria, and now they now give us a new identity to say you are Southwest region. Why don't we have Southwest Britain or Southwest Middle Belt British or Middle Belt or Southwest Europe or Middle? You understand? So they've used all these ones to brainwash us. So now the way forward. What is the way forward? Yes. I believe that if you get to a crossroad, if you've been moving in a labyrinth, I don't know, maybe a lot of people understand what is a labyrinth. A labyrinth is, you know, all this game where you play. Sometimes it could be a garden. You go round the circle.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
You will go around the circle. You will not see the starting, and you will not see the end. So you keep going that one day you will find the road, but you will never find that road. And that is where we are now. So we have a lot of people saying Tinubu must be president because he's from the Yoruba race. You get people who say Peter Obi must be president because he's from the Igbo race. And you get people who say Atiku must be president because he's Fulani. And whether we like it or not, a lot of Fulani would vote for Atiku. A lot of Yoruba will vote for Tinubu. A lot of Igbos will vote for what's it called, Peter Obi. Now they are not voting because these are the best candidates, because these are all the people who have ruined Nigeria in the last 23 years. They are voting because they are their tribesmen. And when you vote like that, it shows that Nigeria, that had its independence in 1962, is not ready to be a nation. So what is the way forward? The way forward is definitely for Yoruba to leave Nigeria. People will now ask, how do we leave Nigeria? If we were in a civil society, a democratic society, the government should have called the people who are advocating for Yoruba nation and say, let's have a dialogue. Let's have a genuine, meaningful dialogue and identify where the problem is. If we identify where the problem is, then we can then start moving forward from there. But instead of that, the arrogance of the president of Nigeria has not allowed him to do that. The arrogance of the North has not allowed them to call Buhari to order, to say, if we don't address this issue, this may become a ticking time bomb that would explode and not only destroy the president, but can destroy everything that everyone has ever labored for in the last 100 years in Nigeria. So, having felt that, when you remove the room for negotiation, the next thing you are doing is you are setting up the nation for a civil war. It's inevitable. If you don't dialogue, you will have a civil war. And people will say, oh, why is that? And I will explain. I will explain succinctly. And that's why I say, Yoruba, we need to know where we are going. Because what is coming to Nigeria, I pray it doesn't hit us unaware. In 1966, after the secession, Arabaku, that they did, the Igbos said they were going, and their leader, Odumegwu Ojukwu, said he was going. What common sense teaches is that there should be a dialogue. So the president of Ghana, I think Afripon, invited them, both Gowon and Ojukwu, to Ghana, which a lot of people know as the famous Aburi Accord. So Ojukwu agreed that if we will maintain this Nigeria, let's go back to what we agreed in 1960. So you will see that I mentioned something earlier, that when it favored the Igbos, when they were head of state, when Agu Ironsi was head of state, when he favored the Igbos, Ojukwu never asked for regionalization or confederation. But when it now favored the Fulanis, he said he doesn't want it, let's go back. And they went and they agreed that, okay, yeah, let's do it like that. But then the elders in the north called Gowon quickly, although we know that it was the Oba of Benin that told Gowon that you cannot do it. That was because the mood from the elders in the north was that if that is the case, then they better go their own way. And what that led us to was a brutal civil war.
So, if I can understand you clearly, and we have, a lot of people that are listening, should we be worried?
We should. We should. Seriously, we should be worried. In 2011, 5 CIA agents wrote a report. They wrote that report in 2011. And the report was that there's going to be a civil war in Nigeria between 2027 and 2029. So,
yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, so between 2027 and 2029, and that after the civil war, they played all the scenarios that will happen in the civil war. We will now come back to sit on the table to discuss. America and Britain will help us mediate, and we will come back to become one nation again. I don't see where that would be possible. Now, this was their calculation. Their calculation was that Goodluck was going to rule from 2011 to 2019.
Before you go into the Goodluck Jonathan, maybe we should just take about 2 minutes of your time while you can have a bit of water, and let's listen to what this man said. Maybe that's what he said, and what the CIA said in 2011 might probably be coming a little bit much faster than we expected. Let's listen to this.
Some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. 1 or 2 who have repented. They have have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Don't joke with what I'm saying. I have a PhD from Oxford University. I'm a central banker. We don't talk nonsense. So don't joke with what I'm telling you. I have this from the highest possible authority, higher authority of some of the commanders of the killers and Boko Haram.
You said northern governors, past or present, Dr. Badaya?
No, current.
That was the late Dr. Malafia, may so rest in peace. I did ask the question, and I want to throw it out again. I know you gave me an answer, but just to get the clarity, should we be worried?
We should. And anybody who is not worried have themselves to blame. Anybody who is not worried have themselves to blame. After, may so rest in peace, Dr. Obadiah, after he released that video, we had 2 or 3 meetings with Dr. Obadiah. First, he was taken to the DSS. He was arrested, and his son did a campaign to release him and stuff, and we mobilized people to give him support so that he's not detained. And he came back, we had a meeting with him. And we heard that Obadiah, Dr. Malafia, was planning on contesting for the presidency of Nigeria. And we said, Dr. Obadiah, with all this your own revelation, the last thing we would expect from somebody like you is to go and contest. And I asked him that question, and I told him, I said, Dr. Obadiah, you yourself, you know that Nigeria is finished. You are very enlightened. You know what is going on in Nigeria. You are the last person I would expect. And what he told us in that meeting was, himself is in a safe house. His wife does not know where he is because his life is at stake. And we said, Dr. Obadiah, you have a lot of connection. Why don't you leave Nigeria now that it is unsafe for you to be in that country? Leave Nigeria, you can propagate. The last thing you want to be doing is contesting elections in Nigeria. But the rest is history today. And that is the same message I'm telling Nigerians, and especially the Yoruba people. If you're thinking a Yoruba man would be president, worst case scenario that I play to my friends is that, which I know well, I don't want to predict anything. If a Yoruba man becomes president, the Yoruba man is not the president of Yoruba nation. And that is one thing we must take home. The Yoruba man is not the president of Yoruba nation. He's going to be president of Nigeria. And for him to be president of Nigeria, it means that he has to mortgage the life of Yoruba people. And if you know what mortgage is, mortuary. Mort is measuring your debt. So he's going to mortgage our lives for the presidency. And when he gets to become president, don't think you have more schools in Yoruba land. Don't think there will be more hospitals in Yoruba land. Don't think there will be more good roads in Yoruba land. Don't think water will get to your houses in Yoruba land. And don't think there will be the revenue of Nigeria will jump up all of a sudden if Yoruba becomes president. The same argument we had in 2014. And I told my friends, I said, APC, PDP is not the solution. We need to sit down and decide what we want to do with our lives first before we go into any elections. Everybody was just shouting, change, 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 say Baba, say Baba. Even if you bring a NEPA bill, a certificate, we'll take him, change, change. 5,000 naira for all the graduates who are not employed. And they kept feeding our people with illusions, with lies, with deceit, that there's going to be change. And I told them, I said, 8 years from 2014, I said 8 years, we would look at the scorecard and we would come back to the situation. I do not endorse Goodluck Jonathan's regime. I am glad that the Goodluck Jonathan's regime ended, because it was as equally bad both for the Yoruba people and for Nigeria as a whole. But what Buhari's regime is done is to now expose quite a lot of Yoruba people to the dangers we are in. We've never felt threatened in the entire history of Yoruba than this present period. When you have thousands of people combing your forests, combing your cities, combing your life, the government is attacking you from the north, the bandits are attacking you from the south, and everything is stacked against us. Now, are they going to defeat Yoruba? Not in a million years. That is the only assurance I can give Yoruba people. Not in a million years. We started sensitizing our people in 2019. I joined the struggle in 2020. And when I joined the struggle in 2020, I sat down with a lot of people and I said, what is the plan? Do we have a plan to take our people out? And what I keep hearing is the journey to self-determination is not a straight road. It is this, it is that, it is this. And I said, that is not good enough. If I am going, and I put an analogy. He said, if I am going to Lagos from London, there are so many ways that I can get to Lagos. And there are so many routes that I can take. I can decide to take the ship, saying I want to take the cruise. It's going to take 13 days for me to get to Lagos. I will still get to Lagos. I could decide to take a straight flight, either with British Airways or with Virgin. It's going to take me 6 or 7 hours and I will be in Lagos. I could decide to go on my bike and ride my bike around all Europe, ride to Spain, cross the river in whatever means I can, and then continue to ride my bike. It may take me 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 90 days. I will get to Lagos. I could equally say, okay, you know what? I want to have a stopover in New York. So fly from London to New York, spend some 2 hours in a meeting in New York, and then fly straight to Lagos. It cost take me a total of 13 hours. So there must be a plan. But lo and behold, nobody brought out a plan. And I said, well, there must be something. So I had a vision. I think that was close to the end of 2020. Because I was worried. I was asking, what is the plan? What is the template? Now, to get self-determination, we could take Nigeria to court. And then I asked our lawyers, what will it take for us to take Nigeria to court? And could we use the amalgamation situation to fight for that case and ask Britain to be to answer to that in that court case? And if you're going to the court, which court can you approach? Is it going to be a Nigerian court? Is it going to be a British court? Or is it going to be the International Court of Justice? And a lot of our lawyers say, yes, we could go that route. But mind you, when you go to court, it's a long process. It's a lengthy process, and you can't predict the outcome.
Because I know we only have about 21 minutes, and I know we might not be able to complete, the way forward, and I will appreciate if whenever you will give us another time, so that we can have the part 2 of this, discussion. But just to tap into some of what you said, what is the plan? What is the template? Can you say that, in the last couple of months, you've seen anything different? And if you've seen anything different, what have you seen? Looking at the whole structure, from individuals, the bodies, the organization, and also, is this still visible that the way things are, we know that the country is completely gone, from everything you've said. But what assurance, the Yorubas should expect? Because if we're talking about, a civil war, if we're talking about either there's not going to be a civil war, the first question is, since the last time, you were asking the question, what is the plan? What is the template? We go through the court, it's going to take some time. Is it going to be in UK? Is it going to be in Nigeria? But have there been any changes from your own perspective as somebody working tirelessly and somebody involved in the actualization of a nation that we all dream for?
Yeah, from January to August now, there's been dramatic changes in the Yoruba Nation movement. Drastic changes. And what we have achieved between January and August, I can say we've gone far, 10 times what we've been doing since 2020 till 2022. Because it was because of that ideology of a plan. That is why you saw these skirmishes. And that is why you saw that the organizations, YWC first, could not hold its own. That's because a lot of people have opinion. And they take opinion as a plan. Opinion is not a... I could come now and tell you, oh, Mr. Koiki, we will get Yoruba Nation by October 1, 2022. That is my own opinion. Then you will now ask me, how do I think we will get Yoruba Nation in 2022? It would there's been plans, there's been sittings, there's been agreement with the Nigerian state and other parts of Nigeria to October 1, 2022, go their own separate way, or we go into a civil war. But that's why I said there is no plan, because to have a plan, you need to have a central command. You need to have a central control system. You can't, and once, before United States of America, that I know very well, before United States will call you to say, come and form your nation, the first thing they want to know is who is going to lead that nation, because the leader matters. Who is going to lead that nation? And so I told our people that we should begin to prepare, that there's going to be a top delegation, there's going to be discussion, deliberation, and things. Let's begin to position ourselves and know people who we want to take into these negotiations for us on our behalf. Because whether we like it or not, whether we go to war or not, we will still sit down and negotiate. So if we fight and kill ourselves and then come back to that table, and it is the people who are still ignorantly shouting one Nigeria, if they say they want one Nigeria, because they can form a quorum, because they can form whatever, they will still give them the power to say, okay, go and form one Nigeria, you people should go and discuss it, and nothing would have changed. So I had a dream, whether it was a dream, whether it was a vision in 2020, And that dream, it said we had three things left to put together. And once we've got those three things put together, we are closer to Yoruba nation. In that dream, it was like a wall was in my front, and the wall actually came down. And that's why I say Nigeria will eventually fall. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Nigeria will eventually fall. Even if we pack all our load and we do not shout Yoruba nation, Nigeria would, just like the way Berlin Wall fell, Nigeria would eventually fall. So at that time, I said, so we've prepared for two things, but the third one we had not adequately prepared for. The first one was security. I'm not talking of Nigeria now, I'm talking of Yoruba, because that is where my jurisdiction is. The first one is security, the second one is diplomacy, and the third one was agriculture. Those are the three things remaining to put in place, tighten it, and then Yoruba nation will come even without any struggle, without any tussle, without anything. And I told myself, I said, I don't want to be involved in the security. I don't want to know what anybody is doing. Let people go and do what they know how to do best. I will go into the diplomatic field and start engaging nations, start engaging people. We started writing to MPs. Sometimes I will write letter and say people should distribute it to their MP. I write to my MP. Every week I write to my MP. My MP came from a place where she did not even know where Nigeria was on the map, to telling me that the UK government is supporting Nigeria to the tune of £330 million annually. And do I want Nigeria? Do I want the UK government to increase that budget? And I said, far from it. I want the UK to remove that budget, because all they are using that money for is to buy weapons they use in killing our people. So we started engaging with a lot of American diplomats, a lot of British diplomats, a lot of world diplomats, and those people who are sympathetic with our cause, to say, this is what we need to do. So for the security, all I can say is, let our people protect yourself, because the government is not going to protect you. Let our obas, let our ijoyes, let them begin to band themselves together. Let them be. I told us that British use a formula to bind us together. We need to use that same formula to unbind us. And it's not very difficult. They bound us together without war. And we can unbound Nigeria without war. We can de-amalgamate Nigeria without war, without any bloodshed. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, we don't. I've spoken 98%, 99% of Yorubas, they want to leave Nigeria. That I am sad. Even those people who are shouting restructuring, they are fed up with the system Nigeria is running now. And there is no way you can have a Yoruba government in Nigeria. It is never possible. So whether we like it or not, the walls of Nigeria are coming down. If it's already down, it is just for people to be bold enough to take their nation out of Nigeria.
Okay, we would, like I said, we would definitely must get a part 2 of this conversation, because the three things that you mentioned, I would like us to elaborate it maybe during the course of the next program, which is the security, diplomacy, and agriculture. But just to summarize, in under the remaining 12 minutes that we have, like I said, we do not take calls, but there's a lot of response, from our listeners that are watching us on all the platforms across, the globe, and it is important. Just like Ijaya says, big man, how can a visitation and visiting or visitors turn to colonization is totally wrong and a mistake of our fathers, which we need to rectify. The question I want to ask is, what more effort can we put in I mean, you joined, you said in 2020, these whole movements started, in 2019, but when we take it back, it has been going on, even before, the 1914 itself. What more can we literally be doing, whether, in the mobilization, which is a very, very important part, or whether in the organization, because you actually talked on something that touched me as well, the central command, the central control system. What more can we push more so that those that are listening, we have people that are listening, then they can be able to tap in from that. And like I said, when we come back, we will tell them exactly, maybe in another 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks, then we can continue with the part 2 of this conversation. What more can we do, as the Yoruba nation, self-determination, from every part of the world?
The Yoruba, like I said, those are the 3 things remaining. If you can do any other thing, leave these 3 things, and we've already got, our Yoruba nation is standing. As I speak with us, our Yoruba nation is standing. It's who will be bold to take it out of Nigeria. Because if you're not bold, you can't take it out of Nigeria. And I say this with all humility because a lot of people, they reference the 1967 war. Our situation in 1967 is different from 2022. In 1967, everybody was ignorant. We just had a new nation. Nobody knew the prospect. People are not suffering the way people are suffering now. People did not expect that Nigeria was going to go haywire. So it was like, let's still try and see how we can patch this thing, mend our differences, and move on. But they say when the foundation is weak, what can the righteous do? The foundation was not built on trust. The foundation was not built on love. And definitely, those kind of faulty foundation cannot stand. We have no history. We have no, and that is why we moved from a British system to American system, because there was no foundation. They say if you do not know where you are going, anywhere could look like the road. And that is why people would come today and say, Molomogun, Fuminikini Momono. I mean, people would just come, Molomogun, give me this, give me that. And I just look and I keep laughing. A lot of people will come, I'll just tell them, I said, just give them one test. And I can bet you that they will fail the test. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. And they all keep coming and they all keep failing the test. And I just looked at myself and I said, I've got the vision. I've seen this. I know how it should be done. You people, you're looking for a shortcut. We are looking for a shortcut. I'm not saying the road should be long, but the process must not be short. If you put a good process in place, the road becomes small, becomes shorter. But we are not putting process in place. We are looking for a shortcut, and you cannot get things done when you are moving on a shortcut. So when all the people they brought, in fact, somebody came to meet me and said, 7,500. And the first thing I asked, where are they? How are you feeding them? At the end of the day, that person did not even have 2 people who are following him. And then they will start collecting money, raising the hopes of people in the diaspora, telling them that, oh, I'm marching tomorrow with all my this, we are going to, and I just looked and I said, I know where it will end, because all those are deception. The number 2 thing, in terms of diplomacy, have you spoken with the British government? What is their mind? What is their standpoint? Have you spoken with the American government? What is their mind? What is their standpoint? Have you notified all the countries of the world? And have we even notified Nigeria itself of our intention to give them the opportunity to call us for a dialogue? The diplomacy we need to do at home is more than 70%. The ones we need to do outside is 30%. And I see these people who come, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pé Israel kó wá bá wa jà, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pé UK kó wá gba Yorùbá nation fún wa, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pé United Nations, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ pé. I just look and I just like, people are missing the point. The diplomacy we need to do is the diplomacy among ourselves. Have we explained what we are doing to our traditional rulers? Have we explained the system of government that is going to be in place? Have we carried them along? Have we sought their understanding? Have we engaged our politicians? Do they understand what we are saying? Do we understand what they are saying? Because if we say, let's go and meet America to come up, it is American politicians we will speak to. Have we spoken to our own politicians? Have we told them they are strangling our neck? And that if we break loose, their own neck may not be spared? Because we need to have that honest conversation. Kayode came out one day and said, where have we discussed that we are going on Yoruba nation? And I told him it is not for him to say. It is for the people to have their conversation. And that is why we went into the awareness phase. Now, let us sensitize our people. Let us educate our people. Let them understand what we are doing. But unfortunately, a lot of people took it the wrong way and started abusing everybody. And I said, that is not diplomacy. Diplomacy is explaining your part to the people. They don't need to accept your position, but explain it to them. Then they know where you are standing from. And the agriculture part that I told you I saw in the dream, the world had already collapsed before we even thought of agriculture, because it was only 2 out of 3 that was completed before we got Yoruba nation. And the agriculture is, in case these people strangle us, can we feed ourselves? So those 3 things, once we put it in place, our Yoruba nation, the Fulani, I can bet you, is not ready to fight. They've never conquered Yoruba, and they will not start in 2022. The Igbo people are not ready to fight Yoruba, and we are not ready to fight them. And the good thing is, which I wouldn't have even thought, is bringing the middle belt of Nigeria. They still use it middle belt, but I know there is a tribe, the Gbagi tribe. The Gbagi tribe consists of 6 states. They are in Nasarawa, they are in Niger State, they are in Southern Kaduna, they are in Plateau, they are in Taraba, and they are in Abuja. They are a very big tribe. They don't speak Hausa. They don't understand any word of Hausa. By close proximity, some of them do speak Hausa, those that have learned it. But they are a very big tribe. They are homogeneous as well. And their population may just be a little few, smaller than Yoruba or the Igbos. They are not going to fight us. And if we have this understanding, then we know that Nigeria itself does not even want to break through war. It is just for who will be bold to come out and say, I'm taking my nation out. I don't care whose ox is God, but you must be ready. You can't just do it without being ready.
Wow. Well, I wish, like I said, we have those extra time. We haven't got those time. We will be definitely be having you again very soon. Those of you that have, because we've actually been listening to Mr. Kayode Emola. Way forward has been the conversation. He has promised that he will find time. He will communicate back to me at his own, time, so that we can have him, maybe for a full duration. We know he came in, 1 hour after the program started, but we still can say thank you so much, for educating us, for giving us, those history that I'm sure a lot of people would have to review this particular clip with us, which is the 10th of August 2022, at coming up to almost 8:30. Just your closing remark in just about a minute plus, because we have just about 2 minutes to come off on this particular program this evening.
Yeah, my closing remark is that Yoruba should know that we have no part in Nigeria, and we have no business in Nigeria. From what I can see, and from what all of us can see, I do not think there's going to be election in 2023. So the earlier we began to prepare for our own Yoruba nation, the better and the easier it will be for all of us. Let's not live in illusion, and let's not live in this mirage that there is a country. All we are just seeing is a fake institution. Let's put our mind to it. Let's plan diligently. Sooner rather than later, Yoruba nation will come and it will stand. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Emola on the Star Radio UK Naija Voices on this special edition that we have with you, Yoruba Way Forward for Yoruba Nation. And thank you so much for being part of the program. Well, this is how far we can go this evening, and I will say thank you so much. I'm going to be handing over back, to my producer back in the studio. My name is Olayomi Koiki. We hope you've had a great time with us, from every part of the globe this evening. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. But be rest assured that coming out of Nigeria is a job that has to be done by every single one of us. I will be back same time next week, Wednesday, but you can join me tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock on the Star Radio UK Morning Show for the update from Nigeria. But as we say from here, Odaro, thank you so much. Have a very good evening. And I say, take over now, back in the studio, Mr. Archie.